Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to get right into the details of a really tragic event, Air India Flight 171. As we were looking through the source materials, one thing just, well, leaped out at us. The reports state there was a single survivor from an absolute catastrophe. So we want to unpack what the sources tell us about this incident, especially, how that one survival could even happen.
Exactly. Our goal here is to really dig into the key information, the facts about what happened on June 12th, 2025. It's about understanding the event itself, but also those really surprising details that make it stand out.
Okay, so let's set the scene first based on what we have. We're talking about Air India Flight 171. It was a Boeing 7878 Dreamliner, a modern wide-body jet. It was flying from Ahmedabad, that's Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport, heading to London Gatwick.
Right. And it was pretty full. The sources say 242 people total on board. That breaks down to 230 passengers and 12 crew members.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, the really jarring thing from the documents is how quickly it all went wrong. It was very shortly after takeoff. The plane impacted a building a medical college hostel, actually in Megani Nagar, Ahmedabad.
So really close to the airport still.
Wow, right after takeoff.
Yeah. And the sources describe it immediately erupting into a fireball on impact. Not something that developed mid-flight, but catastrophic right at the start.
That's horrific, and the human cost, confirmed by the sources, is just staggering. Everyone else on board, 241 people, perished in the crash. And it wasn't just contained to the plane. Tragically, the sources mentioned over 29 people on the ground were also killed.
Yeah, in the impact zone. It's a huge toll. And that brings us back to this detail that just, stands out so much. Despite all that devastation in the air and on the ground, our sources consistently report one passenger, a UK national, miraculously survived.
One person. How is that even possible in something described as a fireball? It defies expectations, doesn't it? It suggests, well, maybe a highly improbable set of circumstances. Perhaps being in a part of the aircraft that, just for a moment, offered some protection. It really makes you pause and think about the sheer chance involved in events like this.
And the immediate aftermath. What
Yeah.
do the sources say about the response? They mentioned emergency teams were on the scene incredibly quickly, rushing that sole survivor to a civil hospital.
Right. You can imagine the chaos and then this focused effort to save that single life speaks volumes about the first responders. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And connecting this to the investigation, which is obviously crucial, the sources confirm something very important. Both black boxes, the flight data recorder, and the cockpit voice recorder were recovered.
Okay, that's vital, even with the fire.
Yes, even with concerns about potential heat damage, which is always a factor in intense fires like this one. But having them is key. They contain, the aircraft speed, altitude, system statuses, pilot conversations. Basically the final moments. They're the closest thing to witnesses.
So when you step back and look at all this information from the sources, what does it really mean for you listening? It's such a stark picture, isn't it? This massive, unpredictable tragedy on one hand, and then on the other, this single, almost unbelievable story of survival. It shows the fragility, but also maybe something else.
Well, it definitely raises a profound question for you to think about. When you're faced with such utter devastation like this crash, what lessons, if any, can possibly be drawn from that one person who survived against all odds? Does it point to incredible resilience? Or is it simply, well, the random hand of chance in a terrible event, something to consider?